Good Tuesday, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center, taking a look here at that radar imagery. There's current temperatures across the region right now, where you do see 59 toward Keystone as of that last observation. Where I'm at, we're actually a little bit cooler than that, though, because some of those more rural spots able to cool down quicker, actually all the way down to 51. A pretty big temperature disparity as I check that observation right now to see the time on that. And that timing is just from a few minutes ago. So definitely interesting to see those local temperature disparities here. I know as we look up toward Jackson International Airport, you do see 56 degrees here in that area. Just kind of giving you guys an idea here of some of those readings on this Tuesday. If you're headed out on this evening around town, around the region, things do look pretty nice out there. I know we've had that fog danger the past several nights, really. Not seeing that as much here as we look ahead into toward the timeline, but still something we'll continue to watch for, obviously, here in the Weather Center. But as we go ahead and look at some of those different cameras, let's go ahead and pump on up right now the FSU Weather Stem camera in Tallahassee, giving you guys a look outside right now. Things do look pretty calm out there toward Leon County. And there's some basketball games coming up for the Noles there right now, likely out of the NCAA tournament, but see how things do play out over the next couple of weeks. Of course, an opportunity at the ACC tournament next week to get an automatic bid there, and what an impressive play and great victory there for the Noles on Saturday. That great pass there by a meteorologist, actually, for the men's basketball team, and a shot there going in at the buzzer to beat Virginia for FSU basketball. That was really impressive. But as we go ahead now and look on over toward the University of Florida now, we'll go ahead and get out that way toward Gainesville and Alachua County, kind of giving you guys an idea of what's going on down there. Not too far away from Interstate 75 there in north central Florida. And you can see, again, things do look pretty calm there. Of course, the basketball team going to be playing some important games here, and we'll just have to see how they do as well. The SEC tournament coming up next week, always pivotal for positioning or just getting into the NCAA tournament picture there, really, as we do look ahead in toward the timeline. Let me go ahead though and move away from these cameras right now to show you another one that we do have. We'll take you on over now toward the Lodi Weather Stem camera where I'm at toward Bradford County, where we have that temperature disparity a little bit, interestingly enough, and you kind of get the idea of what's going on there. Again, pretty calm. You're not seeing too much on this. And then as we get out toward the coastal area there of Levy County, just to kind of hop around the area a little bit, you can see here, again, things do look pretty calm here on this Tuesday evening. So now let's go ahead and get back to that whole area view. You see the temperatures there, 63 in Marion County, definitely a little bit warmer down there. And speaking of going down there towards Central Florida, I know the Bradford High School men's basketball team, boys basketball team, they're going to be playing against Hawthorne in this Final Four. Pretty exciting. I have my scarlet and gray on again for that. So something to be excited about. First time they've been in that round in a really long time. I believe it's only the second time ever. So hopefully they can get that win tomorrow and then get that state title game on Friday night. So we'll continue to watch that situation. Weather doesn't look like it's going to be a hindrance there for travel plans down south. Actually going to be a little bit cool tonight. I know I talked about being down there toward 51 degrees where I'm at this morning. Just kind of looking back, we got down to 46, and then the high was there, as we look here at some of my different data right now, 173 here on this first day of March. So definitely interesting to see that here. Not getting that rain today. We did have that rain yesterday, though, and that's important because we don't want to have a drought situation on our hands. That really gets worse here as we look ahead in toward the timeline, because I know that rainfall, if you're in that disparity, you can start to have some wildfire concerns, unfortunately. Now, there's an interesting side of this that I'm going to kind of get into and kind of hint at here a little bit, in that it looks like next week we could have some shower and storm activity return. Now, that's good. I know we need to rain, but it's bad now we could have some stronger storms. I can't rule that out here. And also a very busy outdoor week here across the area. So the timing not all that great. I know this week. Not a lot going on Gate River Run Saturday, but as we look ahead toward next week, we have a lot going on. Of course, the Gator Nationals, the Players Golf Tournament, the Bradford County Fair. So it's one of the busiest, probably the busiest week of outdoor events of the entire year here in our area. We could have some storms later on in the period. It's too early to get into any details or make any changes to plans though at this point, but we'll keep you up to date in that regard here, just based on the overall pattern. That's how we're seeing things maybe potentially play out right now. So definitely gotta be mindful of that. I know something that was pretty nice though to see this afternoon was a rocket launch. You could even see this here 100 miles plus away from Cape Canaveral in Bradford County as we pop this up. This is a shot I took looking off toward the south and east here around 4:39 this afternoon. You can kind of see how this is lifting on off. You can kind of see the actual rocket as we kind of try to put this in my hand there a little bit, trying to look into the monitor so we can kind of give you that viewpoint. But the top of that is where that rocket was at that point of the picture, as just interesting to see because this is actually helping weather technologies to advance really launch of the GOES-T satellite. You can even see this on the GOES-East water vapor. So definitely interesting. That little orange dot actually was speeding across there. A really interesting shot to see that captured like that there. But it's actually going to be more satellite equipment that's going on up there. So that's going to be really helpful for the meteorology community. And it is important, as we do see here our next launch on Thursday. This is going to be a SpaceX launch, but just kind of give you guys an idea. They could look down that way, see it. I know the nighttime launches, if it's clear, the visibility is good. You can see those even better, really, with the vivid orange look to it. But I know still a 9:25 a.m. launch on Thursday. Those times can always change, so check there the latest information. But the weather conditions do look pretty good for viewing that here from our area as we look ahead and toward the timeline. That rainfall forecast next 7 days, you can kind of see what we're talking about with that pattern there. You see up toward parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, some rain coming in the picture. It's just there 7 days. Really, after 7 days is when we could have those rain chances increase in our area. So we got to kind of stay on guard here. Again, we're going to be watching things. The pattern suggests we could have some things play out here that could be kind of on the busy side. You can see that starting to begin toward Iowa on Saturday. It looks like already the first outlook being issued there for an area from the Storm Prediction Center for maybe some strong severe storms, maybe even some tornadic activity. Too early to get into the specifics. This is toward Des Moines here, toward areas of northern Missouri there as well. So something that we're watching for sure up that way as they do kind of come into play potentially with some more potent weather. Maybe Sunday, Monday, it could be really active next week and a half. Nationally, we'll see again how much works into our area. I know the DFS was still on some things here, though, that it would make sense for a more potent pattern here to kind of set on up here. But again, we can't get into specifics, so we'll just keep watching. I know looking back in weather history, though, it's been pretty calm, but 15 years ago today, it was a terrible, terrible day out toward, especially southeast Alabama, but even obviously southwestern Georgia getting hit as well in our viewing area with some terrible tornadic activity. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over right now to our GR2 analyst computer. This is the radar imagery from 15 years ago today, where we had Enterprise High School hit by a devastating 4 tornado there, folks. Just ripping that apart. Fatalities there from that terrible tornado in that area in Coffee County, Alabama. You can kind of see here on this imagery from 15 years ago today, you see the Silk Echo. I know I remember getting home from school here, watching the situation on Weather Plus, actually. That was a channel around back then, and watching that local affiliate in Montgomery, WSFA, talking about the situation, that printer going off with the different warnings, the different information coming on out. Just a tragic day there. But then we ended up having a tornado devastated areas in north southwest Georgia. I don't have the radar up for this, but we ended up having another tornado later on in toward parts of southwestern Georgia, where we had a fatality there north of Newton, the community of Newton there in southwestern Georgia. Mobile homes, just unfortunately not good places to be in tornadic activity, but this was the only tornado ever to be rated EF4 or higher in the Tallahassee service area. This one right here, where we had the greens, the orange, the ridge coming together. You can kind of see here the velocity really telling that story. Really a nasty situation here, folks, with all these wind parameters reaching down toward the surface. Just looking at one of these in one direction, 112 miles an hour, but winds even stronger than that. There you just see that hooked out. Just so violent. I mean, Stations and Notes are doing a great job there as well with the coverage of the situation. Just thinking about the ABC stations coverage there. I see some of that on YouTube here. Just kind of interesting to see how things do go in this situation, in these situations where we have severe weather really come together. A historic day 15 years ago today, and I know looking back 5 years ago yesterday, I know where Perryville, Missouri had an EF4 tornado as well. So this is generally an active time of year, but at least for the next few days, it's not going to be active here throughout Friday or so across the country. But Saturday, you saw how things kind of started to change, and that's probably something we need to be watching here as we look at toward the 7-day forecast. You do see some clear conditions here on your Wednesday. The high school basketball game there in Lakeland. Hopefully, Bradford Tornadoes basketball team, the Tornadoes, the mascot name, that's why I went to school, graduated from. So if you guys are watching here from other parts of the country, you might not understand that's actually the mascot's name, the Bradford Tornadoes. They're Bradford High Tornadoes. They're going against the Hawthorne Hornets there in Lakeland there. You see again clear conditions as we look toward Thursday, 80 degrees there. And then on Friday, 82, 83 on Saturday, kind of warming on up. You see above average now. That's good for nicer weather, but the problem is when you get as warm as we're going to get next week, that's something we have to start watching for because you see, I mean, that low there, 61 degrees by next Tuesday morning. We're getting more humidity around, more favorable parameters for some more active weather. So we don't know what's going to happen yet, but we just need to be on guard because I kind of get concerned a little bit more when we have these outdoor events like we're going to have next week. Again, don't change any plans yet. Things could fall apart in the model guidance. Don't get me wrong here, especially for our local area. We're really on the edge of the science here at this point, but I just want to give you that early heads up that something would suggest there in the modeling, maybe some stronger storm activity as that Bradford County Fair beginning there on Tuesday, going through the rest of the week there in this area. Always something that's exciting here across our region as we now go ahead and pull back, going over one more time, looking back at that weather history story toward the Enterprise area. It's such a tragic event there. National Weather Service in Tallahassee, strongest tornado ever happening 15 years ago today in southeast Alabama. That's not part of our TV covered area, but still, they do issue warnings for that region there. That's part of the Dothan television market, and kind of Montgomery as well, as we talked about watching that Montgomery station as well, WSFA. They were simulcast there on Weather Plus even because it was such a national story there. I just remember watching that live look-in type coverage there. Just so memorable. As I look back here at my list, I know we do want to talk a little bit about what's going on there toward Ukraine as well. We have the international weather where we can pull that up again here toward Kyiv. Unfortunately, we don't have many METARs left here to show data at this point, at least. You don't see the one for Kyiv, for instance, but you kind of get the idea. Temperatures there around that freezing mark to the south and west toward the north and east. So cooler conditions here in this area. And you see some snow there toward the south and west a little bit, and then rain there in the southern part of Ukraine, showing up on the 1 METAR there, as we were seeing that down there again. This right here is Ukraine, just for perspective. This is Russia here. I know we do have the sensors toward Moscow, and they're right now around 18 degrees up there, a little bit cooler in that region. Just always interesting to see this because weather does play a role here in things like this in war. So I just have to kind of keep an eye on the situation out there. There are some power outages as well that are being tracked too. So just kind of interesting to see these different numbers here on the temperature map at this point there toward the country of Ukraine. So we're going to go ahead now and look back on over though toward our local mapping once again. You kind of get an idea here of some of these readings. I think pretty much going over everything we need to. We'll be back on Thursday, though, with more weather information as we continue to keep you informed. Of course, you can watch my coverage wherever you're watching it right now, whether that's Twitter, that's one source you have at Cloud Casey. You have Facebook, Casey Cloud WX, and Facebook.com/cloudsweather. And then you have YouTube. Search for me, meteorologist Casey Cloud, and subscribe to that and get alerts there when I come on the air, maybe in severe weather coverage mode. And then we also have Twitch there as well, meteorologist Casey Cloud. You can search for me on that platform. Just trying to give you guys all the different options so we can give you that information to inform you, and so you're protected from these storms that could come into the picture here later on in the period. We'll keep you updated with that next update on Thursday, and we always, of course, tweet stuff out at Cloud Casey, even in addition to the coverage that we do from time to time on all the different platforms. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.